My name, as said, is Iva Stamenova. I come from Bulgaria, which is the newest member state joining the European Union in 2007. I will just briefly explain what I did in the past. So I have graduated in 2002 International Relations in Bulgaria. Later on I continued my studies in France to study wine trade, very interesting. And later on I was working for the Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry and Rural Development for 10 years, and later on I joined the delegation of the European Commission in Sofia, from where I was transferred to Pristina, which Kosovo was my first choice of coming to external support. Maybe most of you know what the European Commission as an office is doing here. I'll just briefly explain that our office is the representation of the European Union to Kosovo, and one of our tasks is to monitor and support Kosovo towards its way to EU integration. This requires a lot of efforts. That's why we provide financial assistance. We have many projects in different areas, and later on I'll give you some examples of what we have done in the past since 1999. I will go through quickly. We discussed what maybe I should present to you, and we were thinking about, I'm sure that we have many lecturers talking to you about natural resources, economy, and different examples in different countries, but I just wanted for you to know what the European Union expects and what are the current hot topics which are discussed and which will affect Kosovo towards its way to EU integration. So as we know, we have one Earth, and this 1/3 is Earth. Climate change, the most hot topic of today. The Earth is getting warmer and warmer, and there is a clear indication of climate change. Maybe you all have noticed that in the past few months now already. Greenhouse gas emissions are increasing and will continue to increase. Reduction needs to be more than 50%. We should talk about biodiversity, because this is the web of life on Earth in all its forms, and many of the things that we take as granted depends on biodiversity. This means what we eat, what we drink, the materials that we use for housing, and the medicines that we take also when we are sick. In essence, the biodiversity underpins the ecosystems services which include the provision of goods, the regulation of air we breathe, and the quality of water, soil, and industry. So one of the major issues here is that global resource extraction has increased by 36% and goes up 5 more times by year 2050. Biodiversity, unfortunately, for the past 100 years, due to human activities, caused 50 to 1,000 times more extinctions of species than from natural processes. And the use of natural resources in the EU 15 grew from 90%, and later on with joining of the new countries, it increased to 60%. Consumption. Population is growing, needs are growing, the affluence is growing, and also the consumption is growing. And the result is that there is a growing demand of natural resources. So what is the big issue? We have here the life cycle. You can see as it goes, the more we explore the environment, the more extraction there is, then it goes into the atmosphere, and then it goes back to the earth, and which causes threats to human health, climate change, threats to biodiversity, degradation, greenhouses, depletion of resources. All of this has, as we saw, a life cycle of one factor leading to another factor leading to another factor, which often is underestimated. So what are our key questions? Are there enough resources to support ever-growing economies? Well, there is a scarcity. Even if some of the waste is recycled, the high level of resource consumption raises fundamental questions. Do the increased amounts of waste and emission exceed the carrying capacity of the environment? Well, global economy puts a restraint on national resources. European and other economies depend on the trade of natural resources. Are we using resources in a sustainable manner? Not really, actually. We are more and more using it in an unsustainable manner. And what are our key challenges? We should reduce environmental stress in the global economy. We should move forward to an energy and resource efficient economies, transferring environmental challenges into economic opportunities. The European Commission has recent policy responses. We have energy climate package being discussed, sustainable consumption and production action plan in discussion, raw material incentives, and economic recovery package. Climate change and energy. The European Commission has targeted to have the 2020 goal by 2020. It's a very ambitious target, and it's explained what it means. We'll target 20% of greenhouse emission reduction, 20% renewable share of final energy consumption, and 20% increase in energy. This is our robust framework. It's available for the implementation of the target, but it needs acceleration, and it's also on the way, but the efforts needs to be doubled. What are the pillars of the energy efficiency policy? Energy efficiency is a priority. The cheapest, the fastest, and most environmental friendly way to respond to the pressing challenges. Again, this process is ongoing. The new energy efficiency package to accelerate the realization of energy efficiency was adopted in 12th of November. It covers two key sectors: buildings, a proposal to recast the energy performance of building directives, energy using products, a proposal to recast energy labeling directive, and ongoing work on a number of implementing measures under the eco-design directives, and then new actions to propose in the midterm review of the European Energy Efficiency Plan in 2009 and to speed up the processes. I put this slide on purpose, maybe you have seen it many times, but the control on climate change is in our hands, and public needs to be aware of the consequences that will be affected on all of us. And as you're all young people, I'm sure that you have seen the movie 2012. So we have natural resources policies, which are quite voluminous on European level. We have on air, on water, on soil, in different packages, in different directives and regulations. We have on renewable materials, forestry, agriculture and fishery, definition of Natura 2000 sites, and biodiversity protection. Natura 2000 sites is a network that the European Commission establishes across the European countries for protection of biodiversity and species in specific areas, where a limited number of economic activities can take place. All of those policies are based on the life cycle that we have seen earlier. And this is one illustration again. As I mentioned, energy and energy policies play a big role, but that presentation focused on the resources that is needed. We have products and consumption. As I mentioned earlier, we are a growing population, we consume more and more. But what are the environmental impacts on products?